Okay guys, I'm making good progress now on the closing of the transmission. I have prepared the clutch pressure tools. I don't know how to translate it into English. I'm sorry. And it is now, according to spec, pre-fitted, and with the plate in this way mounted, you may see that I'm in the middle of these holes, so I have full possibility to adjust my clutch and also to tighten it, of course. What this is, it's nothing but a bushing that's resting into the housing. There is a bearing inside. Eventually the crankcase will stick through the hole, so this will be add support for the crankcase. But first of all, it is the pressure bearing for the clutch. This spindle, together with this pulling lever, works this way. If I'm pulling the clutch, this is coming upwards and it will be pressing onto the clutch, pressing it in order to release it, of course. Letting things loose, clutch will be by its own springs, of course, re-engage. So that's how far I am now. Next is all the bolts. There's only 5 of them. Will have to be resealed with new copper rings that have the same function. These little copper rings have the same function as a gasket. So let's see if I can get them all out. All the rings. Yes, that's one already. That's one already. That's number 3. Let's see if I have yes. Okay, I'm going well. So now the last bolt is going in with a new copper ring. So I'm almost done preparing this casing to be mounted on the bike. Let me show you something. Well, there's only 5 bolts, but there's a whole lot more to connect. Of course, this will have to slide over the crankcase. This has to slide into a slot on the ingoing transmission shaft. This is the oil pump drive. Then next, this has to go into its bearing. This is the kickstart assembly. But I have to, and it's absolutely important, essential that I keep this weird piece of metal in its position. I can only do that with this, with the help of this bolt here. If I do not, I won't have a kickstarter. And of course the gear has to slide into another gear too. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connections to make. Of course added by 1, 2 bushings help, of course, locate the casing. And besides all that, I have to mount a gasket, of course, which is not held in place by the bolts, for example. I'll show you how it looks. There it is. This is the way it's going to be. So, there's one bolt helping me out, and that's all. You know, I don't know who invented this, but to call this repair friendly, no, I don't. Okay guys, there it is, it's on. And I even forgot fitting number 7 the gear change lever shaft, but it's on. So now I'm going to tighten, of course, the 5 bolts, and then yank this nut in its place. It's not before then that the clutch is actually really on. This is the bolt that will keep the clutch in its place, you know, the nut, I'm sorry. Then I will be able to adjust the clutch, close the clutch, close the clutch. When I have done that, oil may enter. See ya. Okay, still making progress. All bolts have been tightened thanks to that piece of equipment. The nut is on too. And now I have made the adjustments for my clutch. The center of this end of the cable, this nipple, is supposed to be, when tight, so this way, 11 millimeters from this surface. So hold on, put it back please, stay there for a minute. Right, this is how I measured it with the, and there you have it. It's center spot on. So now I'm going to close up this part here, that will, by pressing onto this plate, will also act as a retainer for this clutch tool. A clutch pressure plate. Well, no, it's not a pressure plate, but pressure bearing, I think. Well, okay. So now I have this cap on, and that is now pressing onto the clutch lever mechanism, keeping it in place. So next, I'll take this tube, and it's so funny. Pull it over, get the cable on the clutch puller, and just start to, hey, it's stopping somewhere, okay. Start getting this one on, followed by this little plastic piece, and there we have it, one clutch mounted. Of course I have to tighten this up. So 118mm wrench, torque will do the trick. This part of the clutch adjustment is called by the factory den Kopplung grob einstellen. And that means something like coarse adjustment. Now I'm going to do the fine tuning or fine adjustment, which is at the handlebar. Okay, but now I can put oil into the transmission, because now it's closed. Okay. So now I did the fine tuning and also put the oil cap on. Fine tuning was done here at the handlebar. Next, the gear change lever is back on, so now I can remount my footrests and the pivot shaft of the rear suspension. Going on, I'm getting this through. Finishing off the footrests. that was a nut 27, sorry, and it will be secured by a nut 24 millimeter. Okay, and now it's time for lunch.